Welcome to Kevin Deal Photography, where I take you on my journey through photography. On today's episode, we're going to be doing an in-depth review of the Nomatic 1-liter Navigator Sling. I'm pleased to announce that I'm launching 3 Capture One style packs: Metamorphic Portraits, The Sound of Silver, and Rangefinder. These will eventually also be available for Lightroom, so if you go to kevindealphotography.com, scroll to the bottom of the homepage, and join my mailing list, I promise I won't send you spam, but I will let you know the second these release. And now, on to today's episode. Welcome to today's episode. If you're not familiar with Kevin Deal Photography, we do gear reviews, tips, techniques, and tutorials, and sometimes we dive into film. If any of that sounds appealing to you, click the subscribe button below. So if you watch this channel, you know that I am both a portrait photographer and someone who shoots street. I have many camera bags, and they all tend to be catered toward my portrait photography. And when I go shoot street photography, I just grab one of my portrait bags, I load it out, and oftentimes it's not necessarily configured in the most convenient way for me to shoot street photography. So I was at the WPPI show, I stopped by the Nomatic booth, and I talked to Kyle. We went through many different bags made by Nomatic, and the one that stood out to me for street photography was the 1-liter Navigator Sling. Now, this isn't technically marketed as a photography camera bag. It's just marketed as a sling that you could use for many things. That being said, after I saw some of the versatility of this bag and the size and the fact that many of my smaller cameras fit in it just fine, I decided to go ahead and pick it up, and now I'm doing a review. I also want to be upfront that I paid for this with my own money. Of course, that never matters. I always do very transparent and honest reviews, but I always like to disclose when manufacturers give me things or when I pay for them with my own money. So in today's episode, I paid for this with my own money. Now, one thing that stands out to me right away about this bag is how well it is built. I find that with all the Nomatic bags I've ever come across, they are definitely known for their quality. It's probably why they're endorsed by Peter McKinnon. So this bag, there's only like a few different parts. So this very first compartment, this is a very small compartment where I tend to keep my phone, or maybe some spare batteries. There's a compartment right here. You can put about half your fist in there. It's not super deep because this is not a super deep bag, but that's typically where I'll put my phone and some other smaller items. Now, something that stands out to me about this bag is that up here, there's a hole. And the hole is a really great place where you can feed a cable through to charge your phone. And then when you go into compartment number 2, you have your main opening. Now, you can see right here, I have a DC brick. This is where I keep my charger for my phone. And then I feed it through to this part right here. So that's where the cable goes. Additionally, there's a place to put your keys, so you can hang your keys from this. Also awesome. Now, these pouches are a little bit deeper. If the other pouches were half the length of your fingers, this one's about 3/4 the length of your fingers. And there's quite a bit of space in there. If I have nothing else in this main pouch, I can keep my Fuji X106 in there. Now, if you look at this product on the Nomatic website, it presents as a 1-liter sling bag. But that's not actually true. When you unzip this zipper, it expands out to become a 3-liter sling bag. And this is where it becomes relevant to photography, because when it's a 1-liter sling bag, you really can't fit most cameras in it. Outside of something tiny like this X106, which barely fits in it as a 1-liter sling bag, when you make it a 3-liter sling bag, all of a sudden the possibilities open up. So what can I fit in this compartment? Well, first and foremost, I want to tell you that when you unzip it and expand it to a 3-liter sling bag, there are left and right access compartments. So as you have this around your shoulder, you could access it from the left side, or maybe you have it around your other shoulder, you could access it from the right side. That's pretty cool. And I like the fact that you could also unzip it and pass something through like a poncho if you don't want to keep a camera in here. But to the main question, what could you fit inside of this? Well, obviously I'm able to fit my X106 because I was able to fit that in the main compartment. But here's a Canon R5, which I have a 16mm 2.8 attached to. I can also put my RF 28mm 2.8 on this. Now, I will say that if you attach a 35 1.8 to this, the R5 body is a little chunky because it's a professional camera. That becomes a little too big for the sling bag, but you could take something as large as a Canon R50 and look, this is a 14 to 35 f4L lens. Now, this is the maximum you could put in there, but being able to put one of the smaller L lenses with a smaller Canon body inside this bag, that should give you a pretty good idea of what you could fit in here. So I think the possibilities on this bag are pretty awesome if you have smaller camera bodies, especially if you're a Fuji user out there and you use some of their pancake lenses. And so that's something to keep in mind. I could easily put my XH2 with one of the Fuji pancake lenses in here. So Canon bodies tend to be a little larger than Fuji bodies. Okay, but what is the maximum amount you can fit in this bag? Let's explore that right now. Okay, so what you're seeing here is a maximum loadout. I don't normally have it this full, but I wanted to show you in those rare occasions where I do have it maxed out. Now, why would I have it this full? Some things like my wallet and my sunglasses, things that could possibly get stolen, my phone. I keep it all in here when I'm in neighborhoods where I don't necessarily trust my surroundings. So this would be the maximum loadout. Now, I'm gonna show you what's in here, but before that, something I wanna point out is that when you expand this out to the 3 liters versus 1, it actually takes this portion right here and it aims it up towards you more, which is good because the bag's not gonna go this way and things are gonna fall out. It keeps all your main compartments towards you, which is great. First and foremost, I have my sunglasses, I have my keys, I have my wallet. Now, all of these things I would typically just keep in my pocket. So now I've just lost a lot of bulk. Now it's about 20% more compact. And this is a typical loadout right here. But when I'm in neighborhoods where I don't necessarily trust my surroundings, I put them in here. So I wanted to demonstrate that you could actually do that. Now for my typical loadout, I have my DC brick, which is plugged in. It's going through the pass-through and it's going to my phone, which is in the front compartment. And then I also carry my spare SD cards. Moving to the front pouch, I have my phone, which is plugged into the other end of the cable. I have a spare battery. Then I also carry my AirPod Pros. Then if I need to, I can pull out my Fuji X100, take pictures of what I need to take pictures of, I can put it away. Now do keep in mind, as I mentioned earlier, is that this is a 2-sided compartment. So if you unzip this side, make sure you remember that this side is unzipped, because if you try to unzip this side and store your camera in, it could fall through and hit the ground going out the other side. So do be mindful that these zippers, they do open up kind of from the side and the bottom. You just need to make sure that you're aware that they're either zipped or unzipped at all times. But when the camera's not in it, it's super light, it's super compact. You can see it's down to about 1 liter now. And so you can sling this around this way, take pictures, sling it forward. If you need to grab something real quick, you don't actually have to put your camera away. You know, maybe you need to get a spare SD card. You can just open this up right here, get your spare SD card. Or if I need a spare battery, I can quickly grab a spare battery. So the design and functionality of this bag is definitely to my liking for street photography.
One final note about that maximum loadout is that when I did my R5 with the 16mm 2.8, I had to put the camera in first before I could put my keys and my sunglasses and my wallet in. And then I should also be completely honest that when I did the R50 with that 14 to 35 L lens, I couldn't fit the keys or the wallet in at all. But I hope that gives you an idea of the maximum loadout of this 1 liter sling bag.
So let's talk about the things that I like about this. First and foremost, I really like the layout. I love that pass-through that's built into this. I like being able to charge my phone while I'm walking around and shooting. I like the fact that I can have my phone, a charger for my phone, my keys, and even a camera body inside here and just walk around and not have to have things in my hands or strapped to my hip. This is mainly a bag for my Fuji X100VI. I love the fact that I can just go into that side compartment, pull the camera out, take a picture, slide it back in, zip it up, and I'm good to go. The fact that it's water resistant and the zippers repel moisture make this bag a great companion for street photographers who have valuable electronics that aren't waterproof. For the traveler, I would highly recommend this, hence the name Navigator. It's clearly marketed toward the traveler. So if you are traveling with smaller items that are valuable to you, I definitely recommend checking this guy out.
Speaking of people stealing things, when I look at this bag, it's a really sleek design, but it doesn't scream, look at me, I have a bunch of valuables in it. And I like the fact that it's black, it kind of blends in. I wouldn't want a super bright color, something that makes me stand out, because then it makes me a bigger target for people who might want to rob me. For a lot of people, this will come across as a typical fanny pack. It'll make you kind of blend in, and that's a good thing. However, for people who are driving at night, there's this stripe on here, a reflector stripe. So despite the fact that it blends in and you stand into the background, if you're walking across the street and someone has their headlights on, they could see you. I can't think of a lot of bags that have that stripe on there. So that's a place where Nomatic was thoughtful. They were thinking about the traveler, maybe thinking about their safety. And so kudos to Nomatic for thinking about that. Now let's talk about price. For $79.99, there's a ton of packs out there that you can get for much cheaper that have pretty similar features. Now, I will argue that Nomatic, in terms of build quality, is superior to most, if not all, camera bags. So if it's a situation where you're going to be in rugged environments, you're going to carry something valuable like a $2,000 camera in here, yeah, I'm going to spend the extra money on the better and more durable bag. But if you're just keeping light things in here like your phone and a DC brick and things like that, there probably are better options for the money out there, and you're probably not eyeing this in the first place. In general, I love this bag, and my general opinion of it is that moving forward, this is going to be my new street photography bag. That does it for today's episode. I hope each and every one of you enjoyed what you saw today. Do you have the Nomatic 1-liter Navigator sling bag? Tell me about that in the comments below, or did you go with something else in a similar size? Also, tell me about that in the comments below. And if you like this channel, I humbly ask you to click the subscribe button below. And if you like my opinions about photography and videography related subjects and you want to hear them in their more unfiltered versions, I highly recommend you check out the F11 Photography Podcast, which can be found on all major platforms, including Apple and Spotify. And until next time, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.